Hey, hi Andre. Thanks a lot for the very interesting workshop and your participation in this event. Please share a bit about, what brought you, to this world of new establishments, network states, intentional communities, private cities, free cities. All this new, movement. What brought you? Share a bit about your background and how you came to the journey.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for organizing this, by the way. I have a history of traveling around, but mostly like moving every couple of years to a different place. So I've never been in a lifestyle of just like being in one location for a very long time. And for the last, I don't know, probably decade, maybe a little longer, I've noticed that cities are very dense and not designed for the flexibility, the diversity that people that is actually healthy for people. I had a burnout 7 years ago and had to take care of my health. And as part of like figuring out how I can live healthier, I recognize that a lot of the ways how cities are structured is not actually healthy for us. And the solutions that I found that work really well are more nature-based, obviously, are more reliant on the interpersonal connections online. And so this movement of the network state kind of represents a lot of the ideas that I have also seen actually work in the real world. And so my interest has been deeper in kind of following the trend of these emerging places that people can kind of travel around and then seek the things that they're missing for themselves personally, while being able to contribute to them in order to keep them sustainable. So as cities are more kind of the industrial artifact, or like an artifact of industrialization, or like having humans do work, I think the network state, especially considering online and remote work, offers way healthier, way more sustainable ways of like human living.
Wonderful, very impressive. What do you think is the structure of power? Because we are talking about building new communities, but what about power? I mean, will these new communities have power, and what type of power? Like hard power, soft power. In hard power terms, like even military powers. And so, what is your opinion about this? Because in the end of the day, when we talk about building something big, with as a new establishment that will challenge, of course, these new currents. Uh, and it also needs to be protected. But what way? How do you think that power will work? Will be cyber power,
Mm.
military power, ideological power, or just critical mass that people follow? How do you think it will work? In the coming future.
That's a very deep topic, very dense. I think the first thought I have is that power is currently undergoing a shift from uh, kind of centralized authority, whether it's in family, school, work relationships, governments, to a more balanced state where there is also a lot of power people can exhibit from the bottom up. Like we had that with revolutions, we had that with demonstrations, but I think these were very kind of local and still very controllable kind of emerging activities in the past. And with the last few decades of the proliferation of the internet and the decentralization of knowledge, I think most people have now access to high quality information, which essentially is what you need in order to be powerful, in order to tell stories. Like power is just telling a compelling story that other people will follow or will have to follow. And in the past, information and knowledge was very secluded and very kind of like set in specific places, like schools, universities, libraries, and most people who had access to that knowledge were the best to know what's best for everybody. And that had its place, and that had its reason for civilization to exist for many hundreds of years or thousands. And now, because this is just obviously generalizing, simplifying things, but I think because we have this distribution of the internet, and people can now be a lot more empowered to find the best knowledge that they know in order to make a change that is more positive for them, we experience something where a lot of people actually know better that don't have the traditional like positions in governments and schools and large scale institutions, so that they try to seek new ways of exhibiting and using that knowledge to change their environment. And this is, I think, kind of, I would say, power, in the sense that the dynamic is shifting away from the central institutions, which will have to let go of that power because they just don't know best anymore. And that's where we need, better systems to just support this, like, coordination of knowledge and the implementation of that knowledge that also considers a bottom-up activity in order to transform society and everything around us.
Yeah, very, very actually deep intervention, and I think there is a lot to discuss about this. Definitely very deep and very interesting. Uh, and what do you think about the nation states and network state relationship? Because it is one of the most pressing issues now. Because well, I mean, the incumbent institutions definitely uh, do not want, I mean, to give a space to those who would otherwise challenge their uh, or otherwise shake their foundations. So how do you think, will there be a big clash between these, I mean, establishments, or it will be like a smooth and natural transition from the
Okay.
nation state to the network? Just, I mean, your thoughts, because I mean,
Yeah.
all of us try to answer this question and we haven't found it yet.
That's funny. I think we're already in it, and I don't think a lot of people realize that we're in World War III. Like right now, this clash is happening like right now, and if you're in a position where it feels like a smooth transition, then you had access to knowledge that that had helped you avoid a lot of conflicts, and so you will feel smaller changes. You will not feel very like as if everything is going to be destroyed under your under yourself. So for a lot of people, it is a clash, and it's already happening, and for most people, and I think for many people it's still going to happen. If I look at the way that information is distributed, the way that people consume information, the way that they make sense of the world, because they have to, or they just rely on the legacy systems. And I think it's kind of happening. It's both. So like, it is a clash, and it's also a transition. If you have access to the things and to the ideas and the knowledge and the space and capacity to follow along with them, it's probably more like a transition. If not, then it comes as a shock. And I mean, I don't know who is the audience of this, but I think if you have like a business, then you might be aware of situations where you're just like, oh, this thing hasn't worked out at all, and you're just like, holy shit, that's a shock. And like, then you're okay, you need to restart again. So I think these things happen. It's more like they have a different size of scale. That's probably the best way I can articulate it, because it's very difficult.
Yes, definitely, I understand. And the last question is about your personal input. You shared, of course, your background, but how you see you like influencing on this path forward. I mean, you think that you are kind of gonna try to build up like a coordination platform that all these projects kind of work together, or attach yourself to this type of platform, or you think that it should work this way, like, I mean, decentralized, everyone doing his or her own project? I mean, how you see this?
Also both, or yes. I think those who can, those who want to, are building platforms, and whether it's physical platforms or digital platforms. And we have seen over the last years an increase in the software and tools that are very, very use case specific, very different, and all kind of contribute to like better human coordination online in particular. And yeah, I think that both is happening. So at the same time, I expect that diversity to increase, and just, you know, focusing more and more on the things that matter. I think for as an individual, my experience is that I am able to, especially if I pay attention really closely, I'm able to optimize more and more for the things that really matter to me, that make me a happier and more well-balanced human. And personally, I also I run a company, and I love working with the people that I work with, and we are deciding mostly together what's the best way we can spend our time together, what's the big thing we want to work on. And due to my past experience, it's also been building software or designing software in particular. Now it's also shifting towards designing organizations a little bit. But yeah, I think that's kind of the way I make sense of it.
Thanks a lot and good luck. And I hope together we are going to make a better world. Thank
Yeah,
you.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.